Do you celebrate the 1st of May?
We do. In Serbia, it's a big thing. And so tonight we arrived to our destination for the weekend. And where are we going? You'll see tomorrow morning.
Good morning. We are having breakfast and after we go.
Yesterday afternoon we packed our trikes and the trailer and the bike on the car, and we came to a place called Deliblato, and we slept here, and from here we start our today's ride to Deliblatska Peščara. Peščara means sand area. It's not a desert, but something similar with lots of sand. The first part of today's route takes us along a wavy road that goes a little bit up and then down to reach the forest area where we are heading. To the left and right we see some farming areas, which there are a lot of in our region. To the left we can also see some wind power plants in the back. This area is actually extremely windy. This southeastern part of Vojvodina, of our region, it is almost always windy, and so it's a perfect place for some wind power plants. And we are entering the area of the special nature reserve called Deliblatska Peščara, or the Deliblato Sands. To the right we can go to a place called Čarda. It is an organized area where you can learn a lot about this place, but we are going to the front to a place called Shusara. As we can see here on these blue boards, we are actually following a detour of the Eurovelo 6 route, which is called the Banat route, and here you can find the information of how many kilometers you need to take to where you want to go. So we continue on this narrow road to the front, but we still need to have in mind that this is still a road, a public road, where we can meet cars, so we need to pay attention, as always, to the traffic. The road is narrow and at some points there are very big pools, and the road remains only in the middle, so we have to be extra careful, especially David, who is on a bike, and he can easily tip over. On a trike it's harder to tip over, but still possible, right? Today we have a warm day. They forecasted almost 30 degrees Celsius. It's not that hot yet, but it's very warm, and it's a bit cloudy, which is good, so the sun doesn't shine upon us with all its strength. Look at David, he's very careful. For a proud mom, it seems that he's developing into a good cyclist. And here we see how these sand hills look like. Here we reach a crossroad where if we go left, we will reach the village Shusara, where we will go a bit later. And now we will go to the right to visit Zagajička brda, the hills of Zagajica. So we continue to the front, and now the asphalt road finished, and we continue on a sand road. As you can see, it's hard surface, even if it is a sandy one. So as it seems, it will not be that hard to ride. When they told us that it will be a sandy road, I imagined it's like a beach and we won't be able to pass. But we will still switch to another formation. We will attach the bike to the trailer and the kids will sit on the rear racks. Here is David, and Blanca will sit on Andres' rear rack. Like this, they will help us have better traction with the ground. At least we think so. Jest, odzyjcie, znasz, to popadało.
Już mało patrzę, możecie do brda. Samo je jedowali go brdo.
Gdzie?
Samo.
Samo?
I samo tutaj jako peszki.
Jedva czekam. We finished the final bits of today's route on foot because we need to climb these hills and there is no path up there. So here we are at our destination for today, the main destination where we were headed. This is it, the Hills of Zagajica, Zagajička brda. This is the remain of the old paysage of our region, of Vojvodina, and the whole Pannonian plain. Originally, this area was covered with sand and steppes, low grass, and as this is a very windy area, the wind was blowing the sand as far as Budapest, Hungary. So they wanted to tame down the nature and they planted the trees. They tried to plant different kinds of trees to keep the sand in place. And in the end they succeeded with, finally they succeeded with bagrem trees, for which I don't know the English word. And then they could also plant some oak trees and pine trees. So in some places we were going through the pine forest with the most beautiful smell in the world, at least for me. In fact, these hills are like sand dunes, but covered with little grass. As you might know from some of our previous videos, Vojvodina, the region where we live, is almost a complete plain. But there are two what we call mountains, and one is briefly visible in the back. These are the hills of Vršac. The other mountain that we have in Vojvodina is Fruška Gora, just across the Danube from Novi Sad. Beside those two mountains, where the highest peak is like 600 meters above the sea level, we have several places with hilly areas, like this Zagajička brda, where we are at the moment. But mostly, as you can see to the front, Vojvodina is one big plain, flat land. This is probably why I'm so bad at climbing hills. We're back on the trikes and we returned to the nearest village called Shusara, where you remember first we went straight toward the Hills of Zagajica. And now we're back in Shusara. Here we reached the main touristic destination of Shusara. This is a former windmill that, as we can see on this photo, used to look like that. And it was built in 1900 by the Eiffel Project Bureau from France. And the well was drilled of almost 200 meters deep. And they used this windmill to pump out water and distribute it to the people of Shusara. And everyone you meet here will tell you that they had a water distribution network in Shusara before the French had in Paris. And they are very proud of it. And here, where we see a lot of parked cars, is one relatively famous guest house and maybe a restaurant as well. So we will try to have a coffee and maybe some juice for the kids here. But as we can see, there are already a lot of people who had the same idea in mind. The kids found some company for football. A bit of energy from some homemade juice and Turkish coffee.
It's a sour cherry.
Sour cherry juice?
But it is very sweet.
Oh, yeah, usually people like very sweet things here. And of course, the Turkish coffee that is usually served with some small cookie on the side, which is a default coffee. So bad. And we're going back on the same way as we came. It seems that David got refueled from the sour cherry juice and now he's again riding at full speed on the front. Back in Deliblato, we came to a lake called Kraljevac. Unfortunately, again, a lot of trash everywhere. And we're getting back to our host where we're staying, to our car. So this is the guest house where we found a place to stay for these 2 days and serves us as a base. Today you can get some handmade things here. There's a playground for the kids and also some animals, rabbits, a hen, a goat. The 1st of May is a very big holiday in Serbia. We celebrate it for 2 days, the 1st and 2nd of May, which are non-working days normally, but now unfortunately it is a Saturday and Sunday, which are anyway non-working days. And for the 1st of May there is usually a big celebration. Everyone gets together, they make barbecue and also drink a lot of beer and listen to loud music. But we are not such big fans of that, and we prefer to spend the 1st of May cycling and exploring our country. So we started this as a tradition before we had kids, and since the kids were born, we somehow didn't have the right conditions to continue the tradition and go for an adventure for the 1st of May. But this year we finally managed to continue it, and we are very happy about it because we like traditions, and we are glad that finally the kids are in the right age that we can do it together with them. We end the day with an evening walk because the kids didn't get tired enough during the day. The day starts with a Turkish coffee I am not a big fan of it, but that is a standard in Serbian restaurants.
Gdzie jest żaba?
No.
Ona chodzi na moje rybicę.
New day, new adventure. Today we're going back to the sand land, to Deliblatska Peščara, but we will not go on the small road we took yesterday towards Shusara, but instead go right to visit a sport complex called Čarda. Here we are.
I think that we will take the route 1, which goes from here, like that. Here is a viewpoint, and I think that with the kids it will take 3 hours. Tudjátok, amikor nézzük a Miami hecskét, és ott van a Ben.
Andrew has just found a new use for the bungee cord.
If you need some more ideas for bungee cord, watch our videos.
Buzetto fatigue. Oh, ne fa fatigue. Buzetto fatigue. Oh, ne fa fatigue.
Halfway we reached the ranger's house, where we found a nice shady place to sit down for some snacks. And we took some water. I don't think I ever walked 10 kilometers barefoot on sand, but it was worth it. It was definitely worth it. I hope you liked our adventures on the Deliblato Sands. If you did, you can always